Here we are. We're live.
Okay.
Welcome to the Festival of Storytellers. This is a virtual book fair put on by ReadersMagnet. Very unique in that it is designed for the authors and not for the publishers. Good evening. Welcome. I am Eleanor Gassetta. I am the moderator for tonight's session for our author of the hour, Rosella Calauti. I'd like to welcome you all and hope you're in for our last session of today, and it's going to be a great time. I'm an author with ReadersMagnet, and I'd like to show you my two books. My first book is One Caregiver's Journey, and it is a book about my 9.5 years of caring for my mother before when she broke her hip and she passed away in my home at the age of 102. My second book, which was just recently published by ReadersMagnet, is Generations of Good Food, and it's a compilation of over 200 recipes from my Italian family. I'd like to take care of a little bit of housekeeping before we dive into our author of the hour, and that is please mute your computers. And if you have any questions that you'd like to ask Rosella, please feel free to send them along on the chat line, and our production booth will send them out to us. Our featured book tonight is Friends Here, There, and Everywhere. Rosella Calauti is an author and a high school teacher in Carmel, New York. She discovered her passion in education and writing after she changed careers. She was inspired by her Teens and Tots students, that's a program, and by her new nephew, who was just a toddler then. She now has a nephew and a niece. She has dedicated her life to helping children and hopes to encourage reading. She obtained a master's degree from Manhattanville College and a master's in humanistic and multicultural education at the Southern University of New York, New Paltz. Previously, she graduated with degrees in art and fashion merchandising. So she has a pretty varied career for her young life. The featured book, Friends Here, There, and Everywhere, was written to enhance social literacy development in young children ages 2 to 5. Growth occurs at a different rate for each child, and this is a very important period of childhood development that occurs rapidly as they learn to become their own independent little people. The book encourages young children to feel secure as they develop, to experience their first encounters in making friends while they explore the world to continue to become individuals. It is an ideal read for teachers, parents, and caregivers who wish to discuss how to share and play cooperatively. In addition to the topic of building friendships, this book helps develop recognition of words that are opposite and introduces adverbs such as here, there, and everywhere. It can motivate children to inquire about friendships and relate them, as it suggests, places to find friends while strengthening reading and writing skills. Welcome to the Festival of Storytellers and the author of the hour, Rosella Calauti. Tell us about yourself. Tell us about your book.
Hi, my name is Rosella Calauti, and I'm the author, like she said, of Friends Here, There, Everywhere. And I wrote this book actually after teaching really young children. And I was teaching a Teens and Tots program in the high school. It was high school. Did you notice the high school means that high school students actually took this program as a course and they ran an actual preschool type environment within the high school. So people in the neighborhood, teachers, whoever it may be, could bring their toddler to this program. And these children were actually running like a preschool setting. And while I was there, I enjoyed it so much. And I took this course at SUNY New Paltz where the teachers taught us about the hero's journey, which Joseph Campbell had written about. And this is what I was really more of an artist and drew things more. But after I took this course, I started to be able to, I opened up more to the writing process and putting my drawings into words. And one of my assignments there was to create a book. And I created this book for the class and handed it in. It was changed a lot since then, but it was something I always wanted to do, was like make a book. So I decided to take the plunge. I was very inspired, like I said, by everything. It was a great time in my life, and I just needed to express it somehow. So before you know it, it ended up becoming an actual children's book called Friends Here, There, Everywhere. So that's the story.
So tell me about the Teens and Tots program.
Sure. It was just a program.
We're having some technical difficulties with Rosella's computer. Please stand by. While we wait for Rosella's computer to be fixed and come back, let's talk about this wonderful experience that we're having with the Festival of Storytellers. It is running this weekend. This is the last session of the first weekend, but it will start right back up again at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 10:30 Eastern Time, next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That would be fine, Mariana. There you are. There you are. Did you move?
I made it back.
Yay!
I had to go right. I went right next to the.
Let's fix your laptop so we can see your head. A little more down, a little bit.
Down more?
No, the other way. The other way.
We need up.
Up. Whatever.
Is that good?
Perfect. Rosella's back. Yay!
I made it. I made
it. Here we are. Thank you for your patience, Rosella. So tell me, we were talking about the Teens and Tots program.
Yes, it's a high school program where high school students came into the classroom because they were interested in becoming teachers, learning about children, maybe working in nursing, something that was people related. So they would take this course so they would learn more about children hands-on. So it was a actual classroom setting, like in a preschool. So we did circle time, story time, we did arts and crafts, we did the alphabet, they learned to count, the whole bit. So it's just like a preschool.
Yeah, but it worked. It works. And that's what early childhood development is all about.
Yeah. And that program was there for a very long time, way before I was even there. Unfortunately, for some reason, though, they ended up canceling it out.
My guess would be money. We have an audience question already into our session. And it said, what inspired you to be a writer?
Basically, like I said, I was always an artist. I liked drawing from the time I was young, and I always liked books and I like pictures. So I decided, I wanted to create my own book. I wanted to make a difference in the world and leave something so people could remember me, I guess.
Well, that's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. Your book is good. You
I'm trying to.
tell me about your childhood. Where did you grow up? Were you born? Are you a native New Yorker?
I am. I was born in Yonkers, New York, and I was born in July 14th, 1966. And I actually didn't stay in Yonkers, New York. My parents used to take us up to Mahopac in New York. It's a suburb, maybe an hour and 10 minutes outside of the city. And we go to the lake and have picnics. And they had friends up here. They fell in love with the area and they ended up purchasing a lot of land. My dad, being in construction, built our home. And we grew up here in Mahopac, which was around 1972 when we actually moved here. And they've been in Mahopac ever since.
So tell our viewers about how Hopac got its name.
Oh, the Indian, it's named after the Indians because the Indians were obviously in this area. We had Sybil Luddington rode through our town. So the Indians were having a peace treaty on the lake, and the Indian dropped his cigarettes in the lake, and he said, "Mahopac." So that's how it got its name.
We have another question from the audience. Talk to us about your nephew and your niece. Are they part of the book?
Actually, my niece wasn't around when I wrote the book, but my nephew, yes, he had just come into our lives. Salvatore, he was like the first. And it was a very exciting time because we were so happy to, a new baby is so exciting.
The new baby is very exciting. Indeed. Indeed. And describe a childhood memory and how it has influenced you along the way.
Well, my greatest childhood memories, I think, are of my family. We grew up in an Italian family. So we used to have huge gatherings. It was always Sunday dinner at my aunt's, and my cousins were there. My grandparents came over and we came over. So it was ritual every Sunday. Holidays even included like extended cousins and aunts. And we did traditional things. We went to midnight mass. We sang Christmas carols together. My aunt played the piano. So I remember all those traditional things, and they're a big part of my memories in my life, and they were wonderful. I mean, I can remember things too. My grandparents, I can still smell the bread my grandmother used to bake.
I baked Easter bread for Easter. That was my mother's recipe. I too am Italian, and the traditions there are traditions such as Christmas Eve that just don't go away.
Yes.
And even though, and in obviously your niece and nephew are young, but even though as your nieces and nephews grow and move and maybe try to start their own traditions, there are some that will never leave, and there are some that they will always come back. So it's just the life that we were accustomed to. Yes,
and it is a changing. But yeah, you're right. Certain things will always stick. I made Easter bread too.
Is your Easter bread sweet?
Yes.
Mine is too.
Yes.
Well, that's right, because we're from basically the same. We're basically from the same parts of Italy. Yes. Yes, the southern part. We're going to digress a little bit because the two of us have been talking. The audience wants to know who made the illustrations in your book.
Okay, so the illustrations were made by me and another woman. We corresponded with each other. Being this is something I just kind of dived into, and I didn't have the technology to do it myself. I discussed with her in detail, and I even spent a lot of time thinking about the characters because they're all from people that I know within the book. So their personalities are in there. And I identified even down to their nationality with her, who I wanted in the book. And we spent a lot of time, figuring out what was going to be in the illustrations. And that's how they came to be. But she did the final drawings. Irene Oates is her name. Olds is her name. Sorry. I actually got in touch with her through my publishing company.
The book is incredibly colorful, beautiful color.
Yeah,
You wanted a colorful cover.
Yeah, that was one of my requests, that it must be colorful, because I find children are more attracted to color.
I think everybody's more attracted to color. I wanted color as well.
It's more cheerful.
It is, like us. Who influenced you the most in your life?
I think my most influence came from, I think, my mom and my grandmother, because I'm a lot like them on cooking, and I was close to my mom, especially. We did a lot of traveling together, and I'm a lot like her in some ways.
Tell the audience about your trip to Italy with your mother and how long you were gone and all the places you saw.
Oh, that was every year we actually took a trip until her accident. But we went to the North Italy. We started in Venice. We went to Padua. We traveled all the way down to the tip, to the south, to the boot Italy, the very tip. So we went to Rome. In between, we ended up in Sicily and Capri, on the Amalfi coasts. And then we came back and we ended with family all the way on the tip of the boot in Calabria. So we spent a good month that year in Italy, and it was an amazing trip. It really was. And it will always be in my memories.
How good.
Even though it ended the way it did.
How lucky for you. My father's family was from Calabria. Where does your motivations come from?
I think most of all from my dad. I mean, I really admire him. He came to the United States. He didn't speak a word. He met my mom in Italy. They married after a month. He came to the United States, left his family, left his friends, didn't know anyone or anything here. He didn't speak the language. He came to America to start a life, and he is successful. He started his own business, and it still exists today, and he passed it down to my brother. He's a construction business, Yonkers Excavating, and I really admire him. He's 84 and he's still working.
Wow, really?
Yes.
That's that Mediterranean spirit.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
So you're just a first generation American.
That's right. My mom actually is from Connecticut. She was born here. Her family is just from the same area my dad is.
Wow, cool. Tell us about your education. You've been all over the board with your education, that's for sure. So tell us about your education in art. And did you do fashion merchandising? Did you actually work in that industry?
For a short while, before I went in my own business. I studied at the University of Bridgeport. I did 4 years of fashion merchandising and retail, and I came out and I actually did work for a while in retail and managed stores. Then shortly after, I decided to invest in my own business. It was a sign business. We did everything. We did storefronts, vehicle lettering, carved signs, the whole bit. We made them, we got them installed. So we were in the sign business for, I'd say, 10 years, my brother and I. And then we sold that business, and I returned to art school for 2 years. And I obtained a commercial and fine art degree for 2 years in the Connecticut Institute of Art, which was in Greenwich, Connecticut at the time. I don't think it no longer exists. I went to work as a commercial artist. I worked in the corporate world for a little bit, producing corporate publications. And then I did some other more fun stuff. I did like the party supply company, like the plates. I worked in that industry, helping design paper napkins for party supply. And then somewhere along the line there, I decided to become an art teacher. So I started taking courses at Manhattanville College. I was going to become an art teacher. I did that. And when I got out, I worked as a art teacher part-time for a little bit before I was offered a full-time job as a family and consumer science teacher. And that is where I am today. I did teach art a couple times at that school in middle school, but basically the family and consumer sciences is where I've ended up.
Wow.
And after that, a few years, well, that was probably more than a few years. I've been there about 16 years now in that school district in Newburgh. I decided in between somewhere to get a second master's in humanistic and multicultural education at SUNY New Paltz. And that's really my education. My mom always said, you're a professional student.
Your mother's right. your mother's right. You certainly got a lot of degrees hanging up behind you. That's for sure.
Yeah.
When you and your brother had the sign company, was that more like being a graphic artist?
Yeah, actually it was. We made like the vinyl signs. You know, we had a plotter that cut out we designed it on the computer and digitize. I don't know if anybody knows what digitizing is anymore. We had to do the dots, and you create the art and you print it, and it's kind of like stickers in a sense, a little different though. The vinyl, you peel it and you stick it on. But we did do some gold leafing and carving and that kind of thing. Yes.
So the audience wants to know if any part of your book was influenced by your fashion degree.
Gee, I never thought about it that way.
You have time to think about it right now and answer the question if you wish.
Okay.
Well, I've seen the inside of the book, so
I think it really's been there from like the inside of the book is the same. It's colorful. It's not really about fashion but I think it's more from when I was a child. Like I've been drawing since from the beginning of time, sketching and drawing. And that's where it came from. I always had that art in me. I decided when I was a child, I'm going to be an artist.
Is art kind of the way art your therapy? Is art your therapy?
Yes.
Like my happy place is my kitchen. Is your happy place with your pad and your pen, your pencils?
Yes, it is. It's my escape. Actually, the kitchen is too. I like cooking. And I think cooking is very creative too. Can be very creative.
It can be, absolutely. Yes.
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 So yes.
What's your greatest accomplishment? I mean, you've done so much.
I know. So I think my greatest accomplishment is getting through all that schooling.
Yeah, I don't imagine with the degree, actually. Yes.
Yeah. And I think I've found my niche. Teaching. I'm happy. No more changes.
You should be. And teaching kids. I admire you. You have an opportunity to change someone's life and influence someone's life. And it's just a very welcoming feeling to know that you've made a difference.
I enjoy what I'm doing. I really love it.
Well, you've been doing it long enough. So you've already described your career journey. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about the twists and turns on your career?
I think we pretty much summed it up. I mean,
why did you write about friendships?
Well, I think that human connection is something we all need in life, and we seek it no matter what. So I think developing proper social skills is really important. And at that young age, especially the toddler age, is the prime time because kids are learning to share and cooperate. They're learning to develop their attention span, to be good listeners. I mean, it's in a very important time in growing and developing and learning. And
I know a lot of little kids that don't like to share, and they don't listen very well either.
That's true.
You've run into them as well, right?
Yes.
Who is your audience? Who is your overall audience? You say it's a children's book, but yet you say adults should read it as well.
I think so. I think this appeals to everyone in the sense that this is a great way for adults to even talk to their children. So if you read the book to a young child, it opens up conversation. It can open up a conversation about socialization, about friends, and that kind of thing. It's a great gift if somebody's having a baby. I mean, what better topic than to give a baby a book about friends? I mean, this is a good opportunity for everyone, friends. I mean, it really is. It's a general topic. It's teaching about the community.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And
I think
especially today when children are always on the internet. I I mean, I think it has its place, but there's nothing like that personal interaction and getting out in your community and becoming a community member and encouraging that and becoming a member of your community by taking part in it.
how do you encourage your teens to do that?
I tell my kids all the time that they need to do community service. It's a great experience for them to get out and do it. That's my biggest advice for them. Take those opportunities.
The audience wants to know if you see yourself writing more children's books. We talked about this.
I do someday. Right now, like I said, my plate has been full, so it's been put on hold a little bit, but I hope to one day. And I hope to illustrate my own book 100% one day.
I think that's super. I want to go back to the teens again. How do you address the teens that like to spend a lot of time in front of the console with their games and how would you see getting kids to do more social interaction? I'm sure you've been to family gatherings where all the teens sit there and text each other even though they're sitting a foot and a half apart from each other.
So basically I try, like, especially now with COVID, everybody's online.
Mm-hmm.
I like I said, I try to encourage them to get involved in their community physically. I try to even give them assignments that aren't on the computer, like to actually physically go out and talk to people. Like we have now my career class. I told them, go interview an entrepreneur, ask them the questions, learn, from them. Go do things in the community that you can put into a resume. I support that all the time. Even my kids that come to school, I try to pull them, especially in my intro to foods class, I try to pull them off the computer. I said, put the computers. You guys don't need to. You can go do a cooking lab. Let's go cook. So whatever opportunity I can, I try to get them interested in other things.
When we had talked earlier that in New York where you are, not everyone has sent their kids back to school, and some are still remote. And how do you teach in-person children at the same time? Do you have a computer setup where you teach everybody and the kids at home see you as well?
Oh, it's quite a challenge. You have to be really prepared, let me tell you. I'm bouncing back and forth sometimes, but yeah, we have a projector too, where kids can see what's going on in the classroom at the same time, or you can do them separate. So it's kind of like a lot of things are a little of both, to be honest.
The audience says art and fashion merchandising seem very exciting. And do you think that teaching gives you more fulfillment?
Yes, I do, 100%.
Okay, explain to them why.
I'm a people person, and I find I think it's that achieving like a connection with somebody and making a difference in their life is the greatest reward ever, because I've run into children that have long left the school and graduated, and they come up to me and they are making a difference in the world, and they have achieved something, and they remember who I am, and they let you know, how much they appreciate you. There's nothing better than that.
So would that have been more exciting than you think if you were doing fashion merchandising and being in Fashion Week in Paris?
I think so. I do.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, I do.
What is your synopsis? Tell me about your synopsis.
I know, it's just a picture book. We're probably saying, what kind of synopsis could be in a little book like but
Hey,
there
right.
actually is a
It's
story.
okay. It's your hour. You can do whatever you want.
It's kind of like a plot, I guess. I mean, the object of the book is these four children become best friends for life, and it takes you through all the places in the community and the things they did together to come to the ends, because where they finally just want to spend their life together and be friends forever.
I think it's a wonderful story. I think it's a wonderful story. What's your most favorite part of the book?
The cover. I like the cover. I really do, because I think it expresses what the book is about. I mean, you got the earth down here, the moon far away, you got friends on earth, friends on the moon, and you got the little friends, the stars, and the hearts between.
It has a meaning to you.
Yes, it does.
It has a purpose and a meaning. How did you research your book?
Actually, I did spend time researching my book. Like I said, I spent a lot of time reflecting on my childhood friends, and the people that I knew. I reflected on my classroom and the children I met and what they were like. And I actually dug up the journals, the scholarly journals that I had to read in college, and even looked up some of my own to make sure I had the information correct on social development and all that. So I spent a lot of time researching and applied it to my book, and that's how the creation came.
How long did it take you to actually put it together?
I would say a good year and a half.
Between your researching and then all of your illustrations?
Yeah, and the final book, yeah. It took a while.
Getting it in your hand.
Yeah, this was revised a lot. I revised it a lot.
So why should somebody buy your book?
Because this book is fun and it's educational, and it's children would love it. And it has a great meaning. Friendship is very important. And it, like I said, it teaches them about not only friendship, but building community skills and learning to be responsible, contributing adults. So I think they would love it. And it's not a lot of reading. It's a good beginner reader, which is good too. And it's got beautiful color pictures that children can enjoy.
Uh, um, Tell us a little bit about your supporting organization.
Okay. So the Hydrocephalus Foundation is what I'm supporting, and the first 20 books that sell during this event, I'm going to donate that money to the research that they do, and the money is going to serve for not only research, but they're trying to find a cure for this disease that affects many, many children.
And
also,
it's a brain disease, right?
Yeah, and it actually affects older adults too. My mom has hydrocephalus. And it's basically hydrocephalus is an abnormal buildup of CSF fluid in the ventricles of the brain. And that excess fluid in the ventricles widen, putting pressure on the brain's tissue. So these children either have to have their brains shunted. Somebody drills a hole in their head and puts the tubing in. They do a shunt, or they do what's called a EVP, I believe it's called. So they have a lifelong condition. And these shunts, from my understanding, they get a lot of infections and many surgeries sometimes. Sometimes the shunts don't work. It's like an incurable disease. And I know with my mom and older people, it really affects your balance and your mobility, and it gives you some form of dementia to some degree. So it's really a horrible disease that they have to live with. It's really a disability for life.
So then if they shunt a child's head, is that to remove the excess fluid?
Yeah, so it reroutes properly and they can have a more normal life, but not 100%, like not a real normal life, because they have to live with this forever. The shunts are.
Wow. How do you want people to remember you?
Well, I think it's important that you're remembered as a good person, a person who's caring and loving, um, and a person who made a difference and gave back. Um, that's really what I think is most important, that people remember me as a giving person, a person who's thought of other people.
Well, and your in your life's work, it's one of honesty and integrity and trying to teach children to grow. I think.
Yeah, I guess it is.
I think it is. Tell us about your hobbies and your interests.
My hobbies and my interests. I'd like to think I'm very simple. I like to swim. I like to walk. Um, I used to ski. Haven't done that in a while. I cook. Those are my main top three right there.
Okay.
I like to try new things. I've
Do you
done
like
parasailing.
you like to travel?
Oh yeah, that I like to try. I've been to Europe. I've been to Canada. I've been in the United States. I usually take a trip every year.
Good for you. Do you believe your mom will be, I know you told me your mom was recently ill. Will you be able to start traveling with her again?
I don't think she's going to be able to do any more traveling. She's
Who
not
will
well.
who will you travel with?
Friends. I've got lots of friends to travel with.
Good for you. Good for you. Um, we've come to the end of your questions, so we've still got another 30 minutes. Let's talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Okay. So my book is also a great book for teachers, like I said. And one of the activities, and I can even share it at some point, that I like to do with children is create masks. And I was going to do that tonight, but things got a little, with the technology problems, got a little mixed up. But that's one of the ones I like to do. And I can post that lesson plan for people. But it works great because children love to dress up. They love to imagine and be creative. So they get to become whoever they want to be, whether it's someone in the book or their own person or their own creature. So that's one of the great things I like to use the book for as a teacher. Um, like I said, I could read my book to you.
Well, the audience wants to know if you would be interested in doing audiobooks.
Yes, I would. I would do that. That would be interesting to actually read like that.
A book. I would love for you to read your book.
Okay. So, Friends Here, There, Everywhere, written by Rosella Calauti and illustrated by Irene Olds. And it's dedicated to baby Sal. Friends are here waiting to meet. So greet those around you with a smile and say hello. Introduce yourself to others you may want to know. And we have Lee, Salvatore, Brandy, and Lori. Here is our school. Inside friends can listen and learn together. Lee's fear of talking in front of the class disappeared quickly when he realized he was part of the class community. And that's one of the things I even find in high school. People are afraid to get up and speak in front of the class.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
People have a phobia about speaking. Okay. Here is our playground. Outside, we can run, jump, and play games with our friends. Salvatore and Lori enjoy riding the seesaw, but Lee thinks the slide is more fun. Brandy and Erica like to ride the swings instead. Friends are there to help and tell each other they care. Lee and Brandy like to play dress up. Lee wants to be a doctor when he grows up.
So that shows that you can always have friends and everybody can still do other things.
Yes. Friends are there. Brandy and Lori are making a cake for Salvatore's birthday. Shh, don't tell him. There are some friends near who share their toys. There are some friends far away who we must write a letter or send an email. Salvatore and Erica became pen pals when she moved away. Friends are everywhere. Lori met her best friend, Lee, when she joined the Jungle Soccer Club. We can join clubs that do things we think are fun too. Friends are everywhere. So we must look beside and between. Friends are to the left. Sorry, let's see. And friends are to the right. I gotta go this way.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Try to see so you can see the page. Friends are above. And friends are below. Friends are down the street at Lee's house, climbing up a tree. Friends are around the neighborhood. Salvatore met Brandy when she moved into the same apartment building. Friends are met through the community. Some friends remain through thick and thin. Brandy and Lori have been friends for a long time. They met on a camping trip and had fun toasting marshmallows together. Best friends are those who care and those who share. Lori, Salvatore, Brandy, and Lee promise to be friends forever. Making friends. Greet those you meet with a smile and say hello. Introduce yourself and ask them how they are. Say something nice. Give them a chance to speak. Listen, share, and just be you. Because friends will laugh at your jokes and make you feel good. Reach out. There's nothing to fear. Because friends are here. Friends are there. Friends are everywhere. And that's the end.
From the audience, how do we know when friends are real friends? Just want to know your opinion. Thank you.
So that's one of the things that's great with the book. That's something you can open up with a conversation, I think, with the child, because especially now I find I see my own niece and nephew. They tell me, oh, they're on the computer playing a game, and they say, oh, look at all my friends. I said, do you know them? Have you ever spoken to them? Like, no, they're just my friend. It's just a game. So I think that's an important thing today. We have to be really careful and talk to children about that, and have them understand there's different types of friends, I guess you would say. But the close friends are the ones who respect you for who you are and spend time with you, and they encourage you and they're supportive of you.
Well, and you will find that your real friends are your friends who stay with you when things are not quite as rosy and as good, and when times change, as when I was caring for my mother, all my friends left. And to this day, I'd have 3 real friends. And so your friends are going to come and your friends are going to go, but you're always going to have friends.
Yes, that's the main thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's just the truth of the matter is, Rosella, is people move on. People move on and life continues. Even if your life takes a turn down another road, everybody keeps moving on at their own pace and doing things. Sometimes they stop being friends, but sometimes they always check back in to make sure that you're still okay.
That's true. That is true.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well, I invite the audience to ask us some questions, and we're interviewing Rosella Calauti on Here, There, and Everywhere. So you wanted me to remind you that you are republishing your book.
Yeah, and I just was thinking that myself, that ReadersMagnet is going to be republishing my book. So it's going to be available again. I believe they think at the beginning of the fall, probably end of summer sometime, but probably the beginning of fall, they told me. So the orders can't come in until then. I guess they can't process an order until then. Let's put it that way.
Okay. So ReadersMagnet's going to do a republishing of Here, Friends Here, There, and Everywhere.
And they're not really changing anything, to be honest. There's nothing changed in the book. It's going to be the same book.
The book's going to be the same. It's just going to be republished by someone else.
Yes.
Okay. Good for you. Let's see if I can go back here. So you grew up, so you're a native of New York.
Correct.
Did you ever live in the city?
Just Yonkers, New York.
Okay.
It's outside the city a little bit. But wasn't there long. I moved to Mahopac when I was like age 5. And that's where I grew up.
The audience wants to know what made you start writing.
Like I said, I think it was always like a childhood dream to illustrate a book, to draw pictures. The writing, something happened that day in that class where I don't know, it just inspired me. The teacher was wonderful, and he actually inspired me. And like I said, that's when I started, gee, I'm going to do this now. And then, like I said, I went to my classroom. I loved the position they gave me at that time, and little Salvatore coming into my family's life. It was just such a great time, and it was just pure inspiration.
And how old is little Salvatore now?
10. He just turned 10 in December.
And how old is his sister?
She's 9.
And what's her name?
Giovanna.
Giovanna.
Yeah.
Giovanna and Salvatore. Nobody would ever think they came out of an Italian family, would you?
No. Yeah. You
Has
know,
your family been supportive of you? Oh, here's another question from the audience. Would you be interested in writing another genre or just kids' books?
I think I would always write children's books. I don't know. It's a hard thing to commit to, but I enjoy it. I enjoy children. I enjoy being with them. So I think I would always stick with children. And I think children's books are more illustrative. So there's always more art, which is what I enjoy.
Which is your other half of your of where you are. You're an artist, and yet you want to be the teacher.
Correct.
Explain to the audience what human consumer
family consumer science. Most people, when I say family and consumer science, they think of home ec.
Teaching people how to sew.
Sew and cook. It's come a long way since then, though. That's why they've changed the name of it, I think, more, because they don't want to be associated as home ec. Family and consumer science, these are real life skills, is what they like to say. It focuses on the trades. I teach in the Newburgh school system, and they actually have an in-house, what they call a BOCES program, kind of like, I don't know if you, so all their trades are taught within the high school. They have everything from welding, auto mechanic, nursing. They have.
So it's a trade school.
Basically, yeah, it's within the high school. It's a trade school. And I teach just elective courses there. So I'm like the general ed teacher, I guess, of the electives. So I don't have a specific area like nursing. So I get all the kids from the different who come through and want to take an elective under family and consumer sciences.
So we have 3 questions just come in. One is, how do you deal with writer's block?
One of my things is to escape to my place all alone in the quiet, whether it's taking a walk, sometimes even driving to work. I love my ride to work. It's like a 40-minute ride in the Hudson Valley. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. Like I said, it's just that quiet time is when I find is the best time. And also when I start drawing, or when I start something, as I do more of it, I find I get more creative because things start to pop in my head.
The audience wants to know what kind of advice you would give for upcoming authors.
My advice would be for anything is to, like that, an author is to keep writing, keep drawing, keep a journal. You never know when you might use something, so it's good to keep that journal. And take the time and do it. Write all the time. Read. Not only read what you're interested in writing in, but read other things. Be well-rounded as you can in life, and take every opportunity to experience different things. It's the only way to broaden your horizons.
Well, I happen to say this next comment is something I really do believe is true. We need more teachers like you, Rosella.
Thank you.
What came first to you, the plot or the characters in your book?
I think the plot is what came first. I'm planning that out because once I knew what the plot was, I think I could fit the characters to the plot. And actually, the drawings probably came before anything. Like I said, I worked from drawings. So I did my sketches, the ideas of what I wanted, and then I put the words to it.
And then what, in your opinion, are the most important elements of good writing?
The most important elements, I think it's important to be descriptive.
Mm-hmm.
Descriptive words are always more exciting.
Would you call them adjectives?
Adjectives and verbs. Your action words.
I'm trying to see what you said. Adjectives and verbs. Okay.
Yes. Exactly. I think that's the most important thing.
And then,
was there another part to that question, or did I get it all?
No, it was just what the most important elements of good writing, in your opinion, might be.
Yeah, and I think the pictures, and in this case.
And then, do you develop? So you found your characters, and then it was easy to develop the rest of your story. But what comes first? Did I ask you that?
Yeah, the plot. The plot comes first.
The plot comes first.
Yes.
And would the plot come first in another book that you would write?
Probably would. It's the way my mind works, I guess.
And even though you like to draw, maybe drawing and coming up with some sort of an idea, you wouldn't think, well, maybe this might be a good book, but then I got to think of what it would be.
That too. That works too. That's one of the things, like you went to with art school, you learned more about paintings, and you saw the story. And it's not just looking at a painting and say, hey, I like that. It looks really nice, that color, or that's great. It's like you learn the history of the painting. You learn the story of the painting.
Yes, you do. You do. Do you paint or do you just draw?
I think I just draw, really. I mean, I've done some painting, but mostly drawing. I like colored pencils.
Oh, you like your colored pencils better?
I do.
And when you in your family businesses that you have run with your brother, did you do most of that artwork?
Yeah, we did it together. Yeah, we did.
Is your brother an artist as well?
Actually, we took over my dad's business, the construction business. But he did. He made a lot of signs and put up a lot of signs.
Yeah, you would, I suppose.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of hard work to have your own business, a lot of hours.
Well, if you want to be successful in business, you need to be able to put in the time and the effort and the energy. Otherwise, you're not going to be.
Yeah, you're not.
You're just going to have your shingle on the door. If nobody's home to do the work, nobody's going to come.
Yeah, you had to work.
You have to work. Yes. Yes. And did your mother work outside the house at one time?
Yeah, my mom was a nurse, believe it or not, in the beginning. She was a nurse, and when she had children, she stopped her career. And I think she was a big help to my dad, coming from Italy and not speaking a word of the language or knowing anyone here. She was a good part of his starting his life. Her parents or my grandparents helped them get started. They give him the funding. He started his own business. My dad is the kind of person, I remember the story. He walked into a place and bought a machine, and he brought it home, and he had to ask the guy, he said, so how do I use this thing? And he bought his first dyno, and he had to learn. I guess that's where I get that from. You dive into something, you learn it too.
What did I buy? Well, at least he didn't buy a bread machine and then figure out how to be a baker, right?
Yeah, right.
He didn't buy a big Hobart machine and think he got a cement mixer. So,
Yeah.
um, good for you. We're coming up on about 5 minutes. Is there anything you'd like to close with, Rosella?
No, I just think, like I said, my book again is not going to be available, like I said, until they republish, probably the end of summer, the beginning of fall. And I'll tell you, this was a great experience creating this book. If anybody is interested in writing, they should go ahead and take a plunge and just do it. Have fun with it. It's really important they enjoy what they're doing.
Couldn't agree more. I couldn't
Yeah.
agree more.
Yeah.
I would like to encourage the audience to visit Rosella's booth at the Festival of Storytellers. You have a booth?
Yes, I do have a booth. I also have a web page. I could type it in the chat so people can visit.
Okay.
Put it right here for everyone.
You have a website and you have a booth.
Yes, and
.com.
Yeah, that's it. Simple. My last name. And the booth, is under my name, Rosella Calauti.
And the booth is under your name. The booth isn't under your book.
It's the book and my name, I believe.
Okay.
Right?
Like they are with all of us, really.
With all of them. It's pretty standard.
Yeah, it sure is. We'd like to encourage you to visit the 150 booths of all the authors. And again, we will have Author of the Hour again next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I have an Author of the Hour next Friday afternoon in Eastern Time. I believe it's 3 to 4. I believe it's 3 to 4. I'm in Mountain Time, so it's 1 to 2 Mountain Time. We encourage you to visit the booths. We encourage you to use the chat boxes in all of the booths if you want to communicate to the authors. My books are, again, One Caregiver's Journey and Generations of Good Food. And my webpage is onecaregiversjourney.com because I never thought I was going to print another book. So you're a lot smarter than I am with your webpage. We like to thank ReadersMagnet. They're just a super organization to work with. If you're thinking of publishing or marketing a book, you have something you'd like to write, I encourage you to let them help you and collaborate with you on the success of your book, as Rosella has been successful in hers. Rosella, we have 2.5 minutes. They're yours.
I want to thank everybody for coming, and this was a wonderful experience. I'm glad I got to share it with you.
I'm glad you got to share it as well. And as they say at ReadersMagnet, bye for now.
Bye.